Greetings from Podcastville. Sneaks and Crayola coming to you in the world of Guild Wars 2 PvP in the 14th episode of our Guild Wars 2 PvP podcast. I just stole away the intro for Sneaks and I'm feeling pretty cool about it because it's Monday morning, the 12th of October. And Sneaks, how you doing?
I am fuming about that. This is my moment, and you just stole that.
Well, I gotta have my moment as well, right?
I'm gonna claim it's down to a morning issue. Right, we usually record these on the Fridays, but because it's been an incredibly busy weekend, we are doing it the day we release it, with some crazy editing, and it's gonna be pretty amusing. So I am very very tired. Crayola is very very awake, and I don't like it. So it's terrible. I've got my cup of tea. I'm sat in a dressing gown. I'm not really up, but yeah.
You should hear this, like Sneaks PMing me, okay, let's do it early Monday morning. And I'm like, okay, so 7 a.m.? He's like, no, 10 a.m. my time, which is British time, which is 11 a.m. my time, which is where I start my job.
Well, let me point out, I was actually saying more in the, like, just as long as it's in the morning. I wanted to get up at, like, as close to midday as possible because it's my day off from work. And, you know, if I get up early enough for work, if I can get the chance to sleep in, you best believe I'm doing it.
Right, so you wanted to discuss this past week's tournaments, or rather events that we had in the game.
Yeah,
I really like.
Yeah, it's been the PvP tournament week. Ooh, so we've actually had some content, which has been kind of cool. So there's been like a buff for things. So you've got your Greater Call of the Mists buff, which increases your rewards in PvP during the community events, whatever it is. You get extra PvP rank points, which is, I think it's just your sort of your when you get your dragon title and all that stuff. I don't think it was actually your rank, which is kind of shitty. Like 25% reward track progress, which is I suppose kind of nice, and then a massive magic find bonus, which I've actually got quite a few ascended gear from this week, which is always nice. I like it.
I will say I don't like this bonus because it means that I complete the reward tracks faster, which means more clutter in the inventory.
Yeah, we've talked about that recently. That PvP needs sort of a streamlined, like one box will fit them all, rather than just like 800. If you're doing the glorious one, it'd be nice just to have a PvP box and you can get a stack.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a straight PvPer, there's no reason for you to have 20,000 different PvE items in the inventory at any given time.
Yeah, like quite often I see a lot of players running around on like a level 2 character, so they don't have like the infinite boxes. So yeah, it'd be nice to kind of streamline that. But yeah, on top of that, there's been loads of different community tournaments. There's been like 2v2s, 3v3s. There's been a stronghold one. There's been 4v4s. How have you found that?
Well, as pretty much anybody else in the PvP community, probably 2v2 is really cool for me. 3v3 is interesting. 4v4, I think this is the first time they've done it. I watched Rom stream it. It was really cool to see stream, though when it is 4 players, the effects show a lot more, like if you have a good roster or not, or if it's only half good, right? It's basically a full-on team fight without a side noter.
Yeah.
And the stronghold, well, we didn't play. Good reason why we didn't play that. So.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to, but you were so anti against it. But it was more for the memes. But there's been some real. The thing I like about it, it's a bit of breath of fresh air. It's in a funny state. Stronghold. It's not really liked about. It's not. I wouldn't say it's competitive. It can be a bit of fun, and it could be some memes. But there was some really interesting team comps that came out. So no, Ilithx, he was saying like sort of the meta is bring like. But 2 burn guards, like a scrapper, and just like some support, and just rush the Lord and delete him in as quickly as possible. But then you had Worms bring in like double support Tempest, which is crazy. It was nice to see some sort of it kind of gave me a bit of reminiscing of the old Guild Wars 1 GVG days with sort of multiple builds being viable, which is fun.
I will say, like right now, I'm thinking maybe Stronghold. In the PvP sense right now is more viable as an event like this, because people just do wacky stuff just because, like, why not? It's Stronghold. You know, nobody of the serious PvP constantly, but maybe as an event would work better actually.
Yeah, I think that definitely is definitely something where, because the off season's like, okay, it's fair enough. with things, but I feel like by the end of the season it gets tiring. So I think having these like little, because when we did the 2v2, that filled up so quickly. Like we enrolled straight away, and we were going to be queuing with, or not queuing with, Dawn and Lucasso. We were kind of hoping to draw against them, and it filled up before like 5 minutes were even up. Like it was first game straight in, which just shows that the sort of the market is there for this sort of thing.
Well, I will have an argument for this. I don't think it's a market as much as so it's really a lot easier to get a partner, one partner, than a full team together, right? That's the first thing. And the second, which kind of should dovetail into this, this is a really nice way to get a team. So basically get a friend, get another guy that has a friend, and then get a fifth. I think this system, a 2v2 system, is an effective way of getting teams formed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because say if you come against another reasonable team, you could be like, oh, damn, that was a really good game. I'm going to PM them. And then maybe link up afterwards. Yeah, that's definitely... It's... The game is missing
nonchalant, right? Because it's so... The matches are so short. Of course, you have this problem of class... what the builds are and stacking and whatnot. But just looking at the game mode, it's a completely awesome revision of PvP right now. This needed to be implemented. 2v2s, 3v3s.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. I'm in two minds because we've talked. There's a lot of clutter about the community going, oh, can we get a 2v2 permanent game mode? But that's that could either. There's pros and cons, but I really like having these events and tournaments permanently on because it just gives. If you don't have a team, it still gives you that opportunity to sort of maybe get some rewards and feel like a little bit competitive. In Guild Wars, like I'm going to refer back to always my Guild Wars 1 times because I love it. But if you didn't have a team and you go, oh, I couldn't do GVG, you can either do random arenas, which is basically solo queue. If you don't have a team or you didn't want to form a team, you could always go do hero battles, which is just like you and your NPCs, and you sort of macro your NPCs, and it's you versus one other. And having that sort of environment where you can go in and sort of be fairly competitive. And then there were tournaments for hero battles, which I really liked. So you could do like 1v1 tournaments, and it just gives more opportunity for people to get into the PvP scene, which the game is sorely missing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Also, like I think 2v2 is really effective as a mini season in between the big seasons, 5v5. I think it works really well like that because, like, whatever system they would implement as a straight-up game and whatnot, I think everything is still available, right? Even when we're putting our own in-houses on, people are asking, like, when's duels and when's this? And every time I just say, the arenas are open. They're open right now, at this moment. They're open. In the game, they're open. Like, I've added enough weeks, they're going to be open. We have 5 arenas. People could go into those and organize stuff. This is why we have the Discord and stuff. So implementing something in the game, of course, involves a lot of discussion on how it's going to work against the game and rating and whatnot. But players are completely have the power to do something of ourselves. You know?
Yeah, so I think it's easier for people because there's some people out there, obviously, who won't have a clue, won't be listening to this, don't know that sort of art in houses exist, don't know about podcasts, and it's this Guild Wars 2 is very much a casual game, and things need to be in the game for them to get into it. It's like if they didn't include like a /wiki and like a help menu, how do people know about the wiki? Which you've got your settings, you go sort of like to your help or whatever. And
yeah, you're right.
But
right.
In game, there needs to be in-game systems to encourage people to play, which is what's needed. And I think that, like you said, to find a team is so difficult nowadays. And having that entry level of going, oh, I can go in as a 2v2 tournament. I like the tournaments rather than the queues because the queues can get a bit tiresome. But it's just my view. Some people want to play all the time, every time, which yeah, it's good. But I think it's just having that regular thing as well, because a 2v2 fairly regularly rather than just kind of throwing it down our throats and be like, here, we've got this, and Reaper and Tempest is going to be meta forever. And you're like, oh, brilliant. Rather than just going, oh, we've got an event, and you'd be like, oh, shit, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so effective as an event as well because on the site it's promoted as such. There's a different kind of atmosphere regarding something if it's an event kind of thing. People just kind of gather, not thinking of the rating as much as trying to have fun in that specific event.
Yeah.
And it really works. It's really nice that you did this.
Yeah, I'm going to throw something out there as just sort of maybe a mini wish list. I would like to see the rewards scale for how many teams there are. So say, because...
So the more teams you have, the more rewards?
Yeah. I don't know. Ooh, because definitely. Because say if you're going through 5 or 6 rounds or something like that, that's basically an MAT.
Yeah.
And you're doing that, you win all your games, dude. You should be rewarded. So you should get a bonus depending, like have a standard amount and then like a bonus depending on like how much extra you get. Like if it's 5 rounds, you get an extra 20% or something. I don't know. But I think that'd be a nice thing. So then you're like, oh, this is a big tournament. There's going to be lots of people entering. It's prime time. I'm going to get more money.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not the one that ever cared about gold here in this game.
Yeah. Never. I just think it's a good way of enticing players more into game mode. So the more people can take in part, it's like, oh, the gold's getting bigger. It's like the pot is bigger rather than going, oh, I'll just wait until 3 in the morning. Like it's as soon as you know. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I want to give you a perspective. In the past, you couldn't really get too much gold from PvP in the past. So like Heart of Thorns days, they only after they implemented this new system of rating and leaderboards with the new Hearts of the Mist map as well. Only then players got like these insane amounts of gold, really, from playing ranked. And I think, I mean, as far as I was aware at the time, I was like, yeah, they probably are doing this exactly to bring more players from PvE that care about gold into the PvP scene, which is fine. But if you're a PvP player, now the game is awesome. You can do whatever in the game, but the one thing you're going to be spending your gold on is probably skins. Otherwise, I mean, outside of PvP, I don't know what that could be. So if you're competing and you're searching for skill, the gold is not going to be keeping you in the game, the gold incentive. The only thing that's going to be keeping you in the game is good games, and of course, by that margin, good teams playing the games. So, even Mota, though it was awesome as it was, amazing, like still the last game, it was almost a stomp, right? And it's not because there wouldn't be, I mean, the only problem I think being that we all know is like that there's not enough people playing one thing. You mentioned Worm's technology every day, but that's about it. You have no other technology to go on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the competitive scene is sorely lacking. Worms are great at sort of surprise things, and they're probably the only team theory crafting, and it just we need that sort of big boost. And I like the tournament week because it created that little bit of hype where it gets new players in, gets new blood, and you see new mechanics, or not even mechanics, but new builds. Like just the Double Tempest was just a bit of breath of fresh air, and you bring in like the stackage on burn DHs, and it's quite a fun sort of. I like the week. I just straight up, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
In regards to sort of what you were saying earlier about the sort of bringing the money into it to attract players, I like it for events. I don't like it in a ranked environment because it encourages people just to go there for gold rather than go there for the win. That's sort of the difference. I don't think there should be I don't think there should be a monetary value in sort of playing, because the whole point of ranked is to play for title, or not play for title, but basically play for rating, play for wins, and sort of that bragging rights. That's what you're playing for rather than money. And the problem with it at the moment is that it is still the best way to get money in PvP. As you said, money shouldn't be the best thing. It should, if you want sort of money, I reckon, as bad as it sounds, unranked should be the best way for money, and then ranked is sort of the bragging rights, and you get maybe some exclusives in ranked, exclusive items, not money or anything money related, exclusive items, whether it be a skin for like your final placement stuff, like, oh yeah, I finished in gold, you get this reward, this, and imagine having every season, dude, this is just going to blow your mind, right? Could you imagine every season just a new exclusive skin? Just that's it. Whether it's whether it's a shoulder piece or something like that.
They had so much of them to PvE. I don't see why not.
Yeah, just all it is. It has to be. Well, there's that many fucking gem store items. Could you imagine if you finish in gold or gold? If you finish in gold, basically, you get this. If you finish in plat, you get this. If you finish in legendary, you get this. And it's just like, you know how you have like the different sorts of glorious armor, where it's like maybe a little bit of a tint to it, like a shine to it. You could literally just have something like that, and whether it be a shoulder pad where it glows bronze, or a back piece. I don't know, dude. You know what I mean? It'd just be a nice little.
I liked your earlier idea from a couple of weeks ago, like you're saying about the Guild Wars 1 trimmed capes. Like the shininess, look, nobody of the PvPers really wants to be too shiny. Why? Because we're not trying to give ourselves away maybe in the match where you're trying to stealth up and shit, right? So, I mean, you don't care about those effects. What I think would be, like, if we're talking about a wish list, I think would be really cool. These tracks that are PvE tracks that give you gold and PvE items, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a track that wouldn't just give you less gold than that, of course, why not? But that would actually give you arena time. Or like,
it's just stuff. It's niche on PvP progression, which that'd be
PvP
nice.
Progression. You know what? Like, why is there a title at 10k games? Why not 5k games? Why not 2.5k games? Why not 7.5k games? One or whatever. Why not more time? More of that, and just to finish off the wish list.
So,
yeah, I go.
Sorry, I just, as you were saying all this, it's kind of sparked something I remember reading. I can't remember where I read it. It was either Reddit or forums or somewhere, or Discord. I can't remember. But it was basically someone saying PvP Masteries win, and I was like, that'd actually be awesome. Whether it gives you, like, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it goes, oh yeah, you can get extra bonuses, extra awards, but it's like you have to sort of, like, one of the masteries could be, in order to unlock it, win a monthly, win an AT, come third in an AT, get 10,000, whatever it might be. It's just like, these are your mastery points, and you could do so much with it, and it could grant. So just looking, as I've got goes up now, central tier, you could go like a fractal attunement one, and you've got sort of like, you've got mistlock singularities, but now it's like you now get bonus rewards from chest of the mists and fractal inscriptions. That would add just a simple progression onto it. So the only way to max it is if you're a top level player.
I completely agree. There's so much you could add. Like, even I can imagine, like, how many games do I have on Angie?
Too many.
And the moment I got 100th game, I got my max title for Angie, right?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why not show that I have 7,000 games on Angie? Like, what? Like, I think that's incentive enough, you know. Like, if you would get that.
Yeah, that's it. That's what PvP is missing, and this week sort of filled that little bit of content, that little bit of like, oh, this is our week, and when this goes, it's going to be like, oh, we're back to.
Dude, I'm not. Like, I don't think that's true. I think they should just keep adding these at least once a month.
Yes.
So every 4 weeks. We're doing our events as well, and I'm just like putting it out there. I hope we actually get engaged with as many of the community members as possible, so that this all kind of coalesces into a big thing, right? Because there's not the PvP Guild Wars 2 community. It's old and it's not so big, and the main thing that we should be doing, which we are trying to do with the podcast and everything, is to bring everybody together.
Exactly. Although speaking of stuff, there's we've got the next patch, which should be, I believe it's either coming tomorrow or tonight. I'm not really sure when it's dropping over the next. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow. So I believe NG's getting looked at. There's going to be maybe some renegade changes. There's a couple of sort of. It's not as big as the February patch, but there's definitely some things which might sort of some quality of life changes, I would say. It's not a sort of a meta defining, but it's definitely going to tone down a few things, and I believe decap scrapper is also getting looked at, as far as I'm aware. But that is definitely on like ArenaNet's radar, because like we've spoken with people, and they're aware of it. They are like, they don't like it in the game, so they are trying to find some sort of way to sort that out, because it's so degenerate. We tried it in in-house games last night, didn't we? We just banned it immediately. Yeah.
Well, if you would have like a strategic, like this looks really cool in a high tier gameplay, team versus team. because you have like people adapting to it really fast. Like before, these games can happen so fast, even with a voice comm team, right? That if the team that is not completely aware of what the TCAP scrapper is doing to them, they can just give out like 300 points, and before they know not to rotate into that and take the other points,
Game's
they're
over.
done.
Yeah. Which we already know that it's a for degenerate things, but when someone brought it in last night, and there was just nothing the other team could answer into it, we kind of made the rule of, yeah, we're banning that. But in sort of in game, there's no way people can, like, it's so good. It's just, I would argue that Decap Scrapper is the best build in the game right now. Like, straight up, because there is zero, like, what other counter is there other than running it itself?
No, I think that it's not the best build, by not at all, because like potentially it's I mean it's disgusting potentially, but it's also easily taken out. Like just remember yesterday when Crow Tiger was dueling an experienced Angie, like he was doing work on him easy, and when he got plus by the thief, he stayed 100% health. I think there's so many builds that completely obliterate the decap Angie. I think it's like this is why Zartek like kept it hidden. I think because it's a nice thing to pull out against a team that doesn't really know it's going to face it in an important game. Let's say you're trying to win MAT. It's a really nice thing to pull out because you fuck up your opponent. But if you're talking about a meta game, I mean, we're not banning it. We're just like, it just didn't work in our games when we're trying to have balanced games. But as soon as you have enough conversation and players that know what they're doing, it's just gonna get taken out.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been interesting. It's definitely a weird one, Decap Scrapper, but I kind of want to talk more about this sort of week because it's been. Do you feel like the PvP population has sort of been a bit more active? Because I feel like I've been getting games so quick, as well. How do you feel like the community sort of responded to this greater call of the mists or PvP tournament week? With it, like, because the tournaments have been massive, the ones I've entered.
Everybody's responding massively to anything regarding PvP, dude.
Yeah.
Like, the community is great. However, you look at it, like, as I said, like immediately when I turned on the stream on Friday when it was 4v4, I saw Ron just streaming it and just talking about it. Everybody's trying to do the most of whatever is giving to us. So it's great. However you look at it, fantastic. Keep it coming, ArenaNet. But there is yet more that we need to bridge here.
More. That's what we need. We're just like, that's the problem with developing. Like, I was there's a couple of podcasts I've listened to when I was playing Destiny, and they've had developers on as well. And it's quite funny. The developers joke is like, we spent 9 months creating this content, and it was beaten in under like 30 minutes. And it's just like, meh, because that's sort of the thing I feel like in Guild Wars sometimes, like, especially with like the Living World content, it's over in a couple of hours and they've probably spent months on it. While PvP content is the gift that keeps giving. You put in a new game mode, you put in a new content, it's there for months. People will play it for months, which
people play it for years.
It's a good, yeah, years. Yeah, that's definitely understatement. But it's like, if, oh man, you know what I mean? Where if they invest in more time, it keeps people coming back. It's that engagement, that player engagement.
Yeah, I thought, look, PvE wise, like old PvE content isn't, I think, bringing people back or new players necessary. And the game is awesome, but like when you get a new PvE episode, everybody flocks to that. PvP gets nothing, and everybody's flocking back. You know?
Yeah.
Everybody has this on and off relationship with the game. Why not? Because there's nothing going on anyway for a long time. So you kind of, you know, even if you're gone, the meta hasn't really changed that much, maybe. So for a PvP player, it's really easy to just keep coming back and keep going off until there's something more going on.
Yeah. That we just need more content. Like, if that's simply it. And I hope this sort of week has brought that little bit of life to PvP, that bit of buzz. And I think it's so hopefully like ArenaNet take this as a good thing and be like, oh, people really enjoy that. Like the tournaments were filling up in like 3 minutes. Oh shit! Like
it's apparent. Of course, ArenaNet are thinking like that. I would urge ArenaNet to actually do it more.
yes,
More. Don't be like holding back regarding PvP content. Like keep adding this, keep promoting it. Like
yes,
we will flock to this and we will promote it back. Like we will play it.
yep. Speaking of all this, I think we should probably keep. Yeah, I think because we should probably keep this episode nice and snappy and short. Because I think next episode is going to be a fairly long one as well, and the episode definitely after that. But we've got a couple of announcements, haven't we, Grill? Like, it's big news, big news. Like,
yeah.
Do you want to have the honors, or would you like me to have the honors?
Well, since you ask, we're bringing on a very awesome guest next episode.
Not that one. It's that. Well, we are bringing on an awesome guest next episode, but the episode after that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The big announcement. The big announcement.
We have CMC on the podcast, and we're actually reaching out to the community now for questions, constructive questions regarding anything PvP, basically. Just not the expansion because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, it's PvE. We don't care. But no. So CMC has kindly offered to come on the podcast. We've had a brief kind of call with him as well. He is up for taking players' questions. So he's up. Basically, we've got sort of a big document on what we're going to be potentially talking about, where you can talk about balance, talk about games development, like specific questions like, oh, how do you design a conquest map? Like, what's the cool things behind it? How do you what's the process of deciding on what skill gets? Sort of behind the scenes things only he can answer. Ask him like personal questions, like what is his favorite food? I don't know. What's his favorite TV show? Stuff, random stuff. And then you've also got like the questions of even communication. He's agreed to sort of talk about like what's going on with the communication, what he would like, and as long as it's not about the new expansion and he can answer the questions, he's willing to.
Well, what we're searching for here is to engage as much of the community as we can on this platform, because yet again, I'll say this, like we're trying to bridge this gap, right? So me and you, of course, we're going to be talking, but we're trying to give the community some space here to talk to the developer through this little gateway of some stuff, right? Like can or can't talk about. That's always understood, right? But we're just trying to make the most conversation as we can happen. So if you want some answers, some insight into this, maybe try and pose a good question, you know.
Yeah, so we've got sort of threads on the official PvP forums on the GW2 forums, and we've got a post. We've got a thread on the Reddit page, on the official GW2 Reddit page. So you can probably hunt it down there. I think it's community questions with CMC. I've just added it in. If we're going to try and talk about the hot topic, so it's like, I'm going to give an example. I've seen one where it's like, when is the CC for NG Rifle 4 going to be removed? Like that's a very, very specific question. Like, yes, we're going to ask about balance, but we're not going to ask about every single skill in the entire game. We just don't have the time for that.
I think that's a funny question.
Yeah.
It's not
so we could probably do a rapid fire round, which would be quite funny. But yeah, if there's something sort of like you want answered, which only he can answer, like, drop a question. We'll try and include that into the sort of discussion that we're going to have. That's our aim, is kind of how can I put this? Talk about huge community interests. That's probably the best way, and hot points that within the PvP scene.
Also, like, I mean, we're sure there's going to be some level of toxicity, of course. Go ahead. Like, we're never minding it. It doesn't really matter at the end.
Yep. If you want a flame, but don't be upset if we don't sort of roast poor CMC, because we're not monsters. But yeah, we want to create a healthy discussion at the end of the day. But it's going to be so exciting. Basically, there's no other way to put it. To get a developer on for the game that we love and who probably has a lot of impact into the PvP scene or out of anyone. It's going to be great to sort of hear his insights on what he thinks and the numbers, the statistics. There's so much. There's so much we can go on about.
Right. Okay. Before we go, we just like to shout out the in-house leagues, the matches we're putting on. Discord and everything is in the links below. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you're probably in the Discord. If you're not, in-house leagues Discord, PM me or Sneaks, whoever. We're putting on games every week. We're trying to create quality games, balanced games. We're also putting on 1v1s, 2v2s as well, just not events, tournaments, but we're trying to get conversation going so that anybody who would like to learn anything, of course, you can ask questions in the PvP Discord, but you can also just join up and play. You need any help with anything, we have a lot of players that are really good at their classes, and we're doing this, everybody's trying to do this to help people improve, and you're very welcome to join if you're wanting to get into PvP or are struggling with whatever.
Yeah. On top of that, so you've done the Welcome to PvP. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. You've also got the Teapots, like Delusional Elitist sort of tournament coming up. I think it's the end of this month, actually. If you've got 5 people, get yourself signed up for it. And go for that win. It's going to be fairly competitive, so it's a good. Even if you're sort of a novice, that would be a good opportunity to maybe record your games against some top level players and go, okay, how did I get my ass kicked? And just sort of see what they do. It's a good learning opportunity. Anyway, you get better by fighting better people. So definitely sign up for that. I think that's everything, Krill, is it? All the shoutouts?
Yeah. Keep playing. I think it's really cool what's going on. The hype is real, so to speak, and let's keep it going.
Yeah. So see you guys next week when we have another guest on before the big CMC one, and it is probably an equally big guest among the community, very well known individual. But we'll leave that for a surprise next week when it happens.
Very nice.
So stay competitive, and I'll see you all in the arena.
See you in the arena.